So this is the third video in our series of a mock walkthrough of a Year 10 mock computer science exam. So this question 7 was a database question asking you how that data should be stored. So it is from the database, and in our table these are records. So this would be the record for Mr. Williams. Mr. Smith would have a different record. So that was the data structure. And because it contains different fields, more than one data type, so records let you do that. In terms of validation, you could have chosen different fields to validate. So if I just go back to it, we could have had the easiest one for all of them. You could have had a presence check. Is the data present? Is it required? Or is it empty? So you could have had a presence check on your surname. You could have even had a length check. Is it a certain number of characters? In terms of national insurance number, that's always probably best as a format check. So is it letter followed by numbers with a final letter? So what kind of format? So that would be LL 0000000L for letter number letter. You could have had a length check. It has to be 9 characters. And again, you could have had a presence check. Job title, again, presence check. You could have had a lookup wizard or a list where you drop down and you choose your different jobs. In terms of week number, you could have had the type, a type check. Is it a number? Is it the correct data type? Or, have they put in letters? It has to be a whole number. You could have done a range. It's got to be more than 0 and less than 53, because there are only 52 weeks in a year. So you could have had a range. Or a presence check. Full time, well, that's Boolean, so yes or no. You could again have had a lookup or a list where you've got that drop down. You could have done a data type check. Is it a character? Length check. If it's y or n, it's just one character, so a length of 1. In terms of hours, that could have been again a data type check. Is it a number? Is it a whole number? An integer? Because it says that the maximum is 40 hours per week, you could have done a range. Is it more than 0 and less than 41? Similarly, with the hourly pay, you do that exactly the same. Is it, if you're doing a range check, is it more than £0 and 0 pence, and less than or equal to £15 and 0 pence? Or for your data type check, is it a decimal or a real? R-E-A-L. So there it is spelled out for you, the different types of validation rules that you could have had. You just had to specify what field you were doing it on, what the rule is called, and sort of give a bit of an example. So in terms of type of check, what is it? Is it a format check? Is it a presence check? Is it a range check? The same again for that one. Okay, most of you did absolutely fantastic on this, including the hexadecimal conversions. I was really impressed. Don't worry about the fact it's 41 to the power of 10 or with the 2 or the 16. That's just explaining that obviously with Dean array, Deanery uses 10 numbers. We, as humans, use 10 numbers. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You could have just ignored that and just read it as 41, 58. In terms of binary only uses 2 numbers, 0s and 1s, which is why that's there. And hexadecimal, you've got your 16. So most of us absolutely did fantastic on that. So I was extremely impressed. And you've got the answers there. Well done. And same again, absolutely fantastically. We did this brilliantly. If I just quickly write it in terms of the grid form, you were absolutely fantastic with your conversion. The odd person made a little mistake. Sorry, they are zeros. A little mistake with their addition. So I'm just going to go through it with you. So if it's a 1 and a 0, you know it's a 1. If it's a 1 and a 1, I can't have a 2. So I'm going to put down a 0 and carry one of those 1s. So it'd be sort of, we've got that there. Again, I can put down a 0 because I've got my 2 1s there and carry my 1. Put down my 0 and carry my 1. This time there's only 1 there, so it can go in. 0 and 0. 0 and 1. And 0. Okay, so if it's a 1 and a 1, put down your 0 and carry a 1. The only time you wouldn't do that is if we have our overflow. So if we have more than 8 bits, we can't have that. That's an overflow. So you needed to actually put 2 numbers and make it have an overflow, a carry number. So actually add it up and it overflows. As well as your explanation. Again, in terms of the truth table, we did pretty well. And you needed to just know what the different gates are. So this is our OR gate. Whereas the dot is our AND gate. And you can see we've got a NOT and an AND there. So I'll just pop these in for you. If you got the entire column, you got a mark, okay? So same for this. If you got the entire column, you get the mark. So if I can have P or Q, well, it's going to be 1. Because both of those are zeros, it's going to be 0. Okay, because I can have 1 or nothing gives me 1. 0 and 1 gives me 1. 0 and 0 gives me, or 0 gives me a 0. This time, because it's AND, so I need 1 and 1 to give me 1. Well, because I've not got 2 1s, I have to get 0. Because I've not got 2 1s, I get 0. I definitely get 0 there. Okay. This time, it's this column, but the opposite, because we've got that NOT gate above it, that NOT symbol. So if we've got a 1 going in, it now turns into a 0. Zeros turn into 1s. And then we'd got that or P or Q. So we've got that or that one. So I can get 1. Again, I've got a 1 there or I've got a 1 there. So I've got 1. I've got a 1 there or a 1 there. I've got 1. a 1 there. It doesn't matter that there's a 0 there because it's OR, so it still gives me 1. And that is how you'd work it out. Again, this wasn't wanting you to draw the gates, okay? Because some people actually thought, right, if I've got A and B, and people wanted to do their little diagrams, and then they wanted a NOT gate. So people wanted to actually draw it. I'm not going to finish drawing it. It wasn't wanting that. What it was wanting was the truth table, okay? Because it asks you for a truth table, not a logic gate, okay? I've not finished that logic gate, so just ignore my little diagram because it's all about the truth table. So it's A and B, or not A and B. Towards the end then, it was asking you about cybersecurity. Again, this was a homework question. So SQL injections, that's where they put in code into databases or scripts in websites. So they can change the code by adding an extra line of code. They're injecting an extra line of SQL to change the information or to compromise the security. IP spoofing, they're changing the IP address of a host site so that when a visitor types in the website they want to go to, they're taken to a fraudulent or a spoofed web page. So it's about using a fake page to steal data. And finally, vulnerabilities. Now this is right back towards one of the very first lessons that we had in year 10 when we talked about cybersecurity and how to prevent vulnerabilities, and it was actually asking you about penetration testing, ways to spot these vulnerabilities, ways to spot these threats. Well, you run tests on it called penetration testing, ethical hacking. You hack it to see if you can find any ways in that an unethical hacker, a black hat hacker, could find. So penetration testing. You are going to need to revisit your notes on this, and we will go back to this topic because this is something that we did struggle on, but it has been a year since we have looked at it. You could have also talked about footprinting or ethical hacking. And I'll let you pause the video if you need longer. For this question, in terms of how you answer it, you are put into a different mark band, and you can see for the top marks you need appropriate terms, it'd have to be accurate, clear knowledge, it's got to be detailed with 7 or 8 relevant points. For 3 to 6 marks, you made 3 to 6 points. For 1 to 2 marks, you've not really understood it, you've only put 1 or 2 points, maybe incorrect terminology. So it's always worth thinking about that final question is your essay question. It may be worth next time potentially starting with that question, so you've got longer to answer it. Overall, though, I've been really impressed. Well done. Make sure you make notes on all 3 of these videos with anything that you've gone wrong, anything you need to learn more about. This is just a dead quick walkthrough to feedback following our exam.